What's happening? It's Vince, and this is the RR Show, all about revenge. Gonna have a few petty revenge stories. By the way, if you haven't done it, tell your friends about the RR Show. Yell at them. No, actually, just gently encourage them to check out the show. If they don't listen, then, I don't know, maybe get a little bit more forceful. It's up to you, but make it legal. All right, let's get into the episode right now. Like I said, our first story comes from r/PettyRevenge, posted by user DudeDistrict5704. My first petty revenge. So I've always been a people pleaser and goody two-shoes, including when it comes to letting people board a train or bus before me. Well, a few days ago, I had my first little petty revenge in my life. I was waiting to get on a train that was rolling into the station. Like everyone else, I was waiting patiently for the train to stop so we can get on, when I already noticed a middle-aged man kind of frantically walking about, obviously trying to get ready to board first. I was a bit irritated as he decided to stand right in front of me, although there were still wide spaces open to my left and right. But I thought, oh well. The train finally stops, the door opens, and people, as it is the custom and polite, get in two lines by each door to file in. Although the man had previously gone to a completely different entrance, it seems the line there wasn't moving fast enough for him, so he came back to the door I was at. And would you know it, he had no intent of standing in the back of the line, but tried to squeeze in between the two lines to get back in first. As people are filing in and this guy comes to try to squeeze himself in, all of a sudden I'm standing directly beside him and can tell he's going to try to push past me too. Never until this day have I done something intentionally petty, but something clicked on me here. As this rude primate tries pushing past me, I lift my arm slightly to my mouth and start coughing the most disgusting and vile cough I could muster in that moment. And oh my goodness, the look of pure disgust, shock, and horror that came over that man's face was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. He even stumbled back a bit. I looked at him and got on the train before he could. I know it's small and not super petty, but it gave me such a good feeling anyways. I might just start being petty on a regular basis from now on. I like the way it feels. Our next story about revenge comes from r/PettyRevenge, posted by the Lil Squeegee. Condescend to me? Cool. I'll match the energy. For context, I, a 30s female, work in a factory that builds parts. I'm in quality, so I work with engineers, but I am not one. Also, I'm not a morning person. I work second shift for a reason. It takes me at least 2 cups of coffee to be functional and pleasant on a good day. This was not a good day. My shift normally starts around 3, but this particular week I was coming in at 9 to work with Jeremy, a male in his 70s, not his real name, on a first shift to train for a certification. Jeremy is the only other guy in the whole building who has the certification. He's a pretty chill older gentleman who probably should have retired a long time ago, but he gets bored sitting at home doing nothing. He's soft-spoken though, and only talks when he has something important to say. At 9 a.m., we get along like gangbusters. There are several engineers going in and out of the room at any given time. And then there's Barry, male in his 40s, also not his real name. Barry is an engineering tech, not an engineer. Doesn't have an engineering degree. Every person I've ever talked about to Barry has said that if he was half as smart as he thought he was, he'd be twice as smart as anyone else in the building. What I've noticed, he's pompous, he's condescending, he's loud, he will get on a tangent and just keep talking at you. He overestimates his likability, he'll corner you in the hallways just to pat himself on the back about something. In short, Barry is kryptonite to 9 a.m. squeegee brain. Caught up? Great. So on a Tuesday of this week, Barry had come into the room around our normal start time, after I'd been there for about 6 hours, and though I was generally in a pleasant mood, I was not particularly inclined to be lectured on the Pythagorean theorem that day. All I wanted to know was what dimension on the blueprint I was supposed to measure because the instructions were unclear. I didn't even ask Barry. I asked another coworker, and Barry just happened to overhear. What I got was 45 minutes of high school geometry. He kept throwing in little sprinkles of, "Now, you don't have to remember this, but I do. Don't worry, you'll never have to know this." It took everything in me to keep my mouth shut. Wednesday, I get to work. Jeremy pulls his seat over for me and we start going over the training. I get to a point a few hours later where I need to use some equipment across the room to take a measurement. And Barry walks up, makes some offhanded comment about, "Look at you trying to learn new things. Do you need help with that?" "Nope, I'm good, thanks for offering." Get trapped in a 30-minute conversation about calibration for my troubles. Thursday rolls in, and I'm definitely more zombie than human. I have coffee firmly grasped in my hand. I have no patience for shenanigans. I walk into the room and beeline over to Jeremy, but in my zombie state, I run smack into Barry. I mumble an apology and Barry steps back, and the following happens. Barry: "Oh, that's okay. What are you doing here?" Me, as if I'm talking to a small child: "I work here." Jeremy and the other guys on the shift start laughing quietly. "Well, yes, but what are you doing here?" Me, still deadpan: "Working." Jeremy and crew are now less quiet. "Well, what on?" Me: "Work." Someone snorts, all pretense at laughing quietly is forgotten. And I stood there, just stared at him until he walked away. He eventually shrugged and walked off, but it brought me at least a couple of months of Barry-free shifts. And he avoids me in the hallways now. Our third story comes from r/PettyRevenge, posted by user TimeConcentrate845. When the overzealous professor got corrected on his university's policy. About 8 years ago, I was in my final semester of college and only had one more class left to take that was required for my major. The rest were just random electives to fulfill the minimum unit requirements to graduate. I noticed the name of the professor I was assigned to and instantly felt dread. I had him during my freshman year for another required course, and let's just say he wasn't a pleasant human being. Constantly on a power trip, would dock a percentage off your grade for every class missed or were late for, and had no problem yelling, talking down to you in front of the entire class. I ended up getting sick during the beginning of the semester, so I had to miss his first class. Since it met twice a week, I made sure to show up to the Thursday class. The professor gave me a look when I walked in, so I reintroduced myself and explained that I missed the Tuesday class because I'd been sick. Thinking that was the end of it, no. He called me over after the class got dismissed and, in a sinisterly delighted way, told me that since I missed his first class on the first week, that he was allowed to drop me and that I would have to take the class next semester. Sorry. The university policy was that if you missed 50% of class meetings during the first 2 weeks, the professor could drop you from the course, assuming they cared enough to take attendance. So if a class met 4 times in the first 2 weeks and you missed 2 of them, you could get involuntarily dropped. I went straight to our department's building, and there was an admin sitting there right by the elevator. I told her what the situation was, basically repeating my understanding of the policy to her. She nodded and said that was correct. Right then, the elevator door opened and my professor walked up. I said in a sinisterly delighted way, "Will you please explain the policy to my professor? I don't think he's very familiar with it." The look on the professor's face still makes me chuckle to this day. and I ended up passing his class with a B. Our fourth story in this episode comes again from r/PettyRevenge from I'm Ricky Spanish. Never bring food to the potlucks? Everyone hates you. I worked at a call center and we all sat in teams between 8 to 12 people. One of the guys on my team was the type that never brought anything to the team potlucks but would eat more than anyone more often than not. We also had potlucks at least once a month on our team, maybe more. In November of that year, the management held a competition to see which team could donate the most money for a local shelter or something like that. One guy on our team wanted to win so badly. No idea why. The prize was a pie from this local bakery, so nothing crazy. He just wanted to win. Long story short, every person on the team donated aside from one. The last night, it was neck and neck with another team that had another person that was also way too competitive. Anyway, he was asking for everyone to look for change in our desks or our cars. So of course, the guy that never brought food to a potluck was the one that hadn't donated. We asked him if he had change on him and he said he did, but he wasn't donating. And I quote, "Not even a quarter." This guy was a real piece of work. I should also say I could not stand this guy. I could go all day, but think Dwight from The Office, but no redeeming qualities at all. He used to clip his toenails at his desk. So we won thanks to our crazy guy going to an ATM. I'm not kidding. So the team decides we want a cheesecake. I decided I didn't want D-Bag to have any. I sent the team an email saying something along the lines of, "We won. Anyone that donated is welcome to some of the cheesecake." Within 5 minutes, my manager is pulling me aside saying I can't exclude anyone at potlucks, which was the rule. I explained this was different because everyone donated money to a charity and it was a reward. Long story short, my manager surprisingly agreed with me. So all day, every time I get up, I see D-Bag staring at the cheesecake in the middle of our area. At the end of the day, there was 1 or 2 pieces left, and the dude was just sitting there waiting for everyone to leave so he could take it. I was the second to last there. It was obvious what he was doing. I know this was petty AF, but I picked the last pieces up, mashed them into the garbage can while making eye contact with him. I got in trouble the next day because he complained, but it was worth it. It's not always easy to get guys like that back, but I jump if I ever see one. I've seen quite a few people ask if it's possible he was poor or something like that. That was not the case. I also realized that it seems like a lot of potlucks. It was, but not everyone contributed every time. As a team, we understood it's not realistic every time, but there was always about 70% of people contributing each time. But this guy never brought anything, ever, and then would fill 2 plates overflowing and be first in line. I promise you, he had this coming. Our final story in this Petty Revenge episode comes from the best possum. Ring ring, here's me on your off day. I work part-time hours 4 days a week, always same days. It's stated in my work contract. My boss is generally great. For example, she checks in about our workload, and if it's too much, we agree on what to drop. She also understands that we all have a life besides the job. For example, I once had 1 opera tickets for the next week, and it was busy as hell at work. Nevertheless, she encouraged me to go and rearrange the schedule. What she does not understand is that I never work for free. Don't check emails on my days off, don't answer quick questions, etc. If there's an actual emergency, like if a patient of mine has gone suicidal, it's different. But in general, when I'm off, I'm off. So I've been working there for about a month or so. It's my day off and my phone rings. It's my boss. I scramble to pick up, ask what happened. Turns out nothing special. She just had the time to review some paperwork I had submitted and wanted to clarify a few details. Says herself that she knows I'm off and it probably could wait for Monday, but she would love to get another thing off her desk today. So maybe I could take a quick minute. I told her that yes, the info is correct, but to please not to call me on my day off unless it's both urgent and important. She apologized and said that of course days off are off. Well, a few days later, my phone rings. It's boss. I scramble. Well, it's nothing special again. She just wanted to tell me that my requested vacation days for next year work and are fine and are hereby approved. Could have written an email or waited for the next business day, but she thought a call was quicker, and since it's something positive for me, I surely wouldn't mind. I told her, "You're right. Of course I don't mind. Thank you for the info." Then I waited for the right moment. Well, 2 or so weeks after that, she asked the whole team during the team meeting if there are a few more people who could work on a day between the holidays, when most would want to take that day off and get 3 free days in a row. Told us all to check our calendars, and next team meeting, we would regroup and see if we have enough volunteers. I remembered the issue during breakfast with my boyfriend on Sunday. Asked him about that date, and turns out he was scheduled to work. So I thought, you know what? I can work too if we can't do anything special over those days anyway. And of course, it could have waited until Monday or until our team meeting. And I could have also written a quick message if I wanted to get it out of my head, but I decided to call. My boss answered pretty much immediately and sounded a bit panicked when she asked what happened. So I told her, "Oh, nothing special. I was just talking with my boyfriend about day X, and we have no plans, so I can come work." She went, "Really? I thought something bad happened. Why do you call me on a Sunday for this? It could have waited." And I sweetly answered, "Yes, I know that it's your day off, but since it's just a quick bit of info, and it's also a good thing, you wouldn't mind a short call." She just said, "Thank you, but next time please wait for Monday." After that, she never called on my day off again. Anyhow, I've been working there for 2 years. So thanks for being with us. The RR Show is a production of Evergreen Podcasts and Wessler Media. Now, if you'd be so kind, please follow or subscribe to our show wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're feeling extra nice, you might as well leave a 5-star review. But for more, visit the website, rrshow.com. That is rrshow.com. I'm your host, Vince. Thank you to my producer, Kevin, and we'll see you next time here on The RR Show.